Hello! Hi, everyone. We are getting ready to go live with Taylor from Bindi's Bucket List. Here she is. Did it work? Hi!
Hi! How
Hi,
are you?
I'm doing so well. Yeah, it's a beautiful day down here at the beach. Bunny and Otter played really nicely today, so that's pretty much everything I am hoping for at the moment. And yeah, all is good. How are you?
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're having a good day there. It's like super rainy, thunderstormy here.
Oh,
If you have a hard time hearing me or seeing me, I'm like in my basement right now, so just let me know. But I'm
okay.
so glad to hear that Bunny and Otter are doing great. It makes my heart so happy, like knowing everything you guys have been going through. So puppy struggles
Yeah,
are real.
the struggle is real for sure. I remember you were so supportive when I first brought him home. Just talking about your own journey, bringing home a second dog, and how difficult it is, regardless of the temperament of both dogs. It's a lot of work. It's just
Oh yeah.
managing, making sure that everyone's having their needs met, individual time for both, together time for both, and finding time for yourself. It's utter chaos. And I don't have any human children, but I've heard a lot of people comparing it to that. It's just there isn't time for existing as a human being when you're taking care of other beings full time.
Totally. Yeah. It is such a stressful time. And I think people really sugarcoat it a lot of the time because puppies can be so fun and cute. And then you bring one home sometimes and the puppy blues are so real, right? I think it's
Yeah.
something a lot of us go through, especially integrating two. It's like a whole different can of worms. It can be awesome, but it can also be quite the ordeal. So I totally know what you're going through. It is sometimes a lot of the times it's a lot, but it does get better in time. I will give you a light at the end of the tunnel. You're gonna be
Yeah, for
great.
sure. I feel like I'm already starting to see that. And yeah, puppy blues are so real. I don't think I know of a person who has brought home a puppy that hasn't experienced that to some
Yeah.
extent. Um, and I from the beginning was just okay, this is what we're doing, and I have this very strategic management plan. I'm gonna follow it, and it's gonna suck for a while. And it's just been an emotional roller coaster, right? But the roller coaster sort of goes like this.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, it's fun, it's exhausting, but it's great. Yeah, it's gonna be
No,
really good.
it's awesome. It gets better.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So for those of you in our live right now, this is Taylor from Bindi's Bucket List. She is the queen of enrichment. I have been so inspired by watching her journey to give her dogs the most fulfilled lives possible. And I'd love for you to just tell us a little bit about your story and the origin story of your first dog, Bindi, and why you became so involved in enrichment and how you sort of got started with all of that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, totally. Well, first of all, I also want to thank you so much for having me on. Huge fans of you guys. When I found out you guys followed me, I was like, oh my God, this can't be real. But I love seeing the enrichment you do with Bunny and Otter as well. So for those of you who don't know what canine enrichment really is, it's basically fulfilling our dog's innate needs. So kind of a good way to put it is it spotlights the inherent needs of our dogs. A lot of them we kind of think of as bad things like chewing or digging or things like that, chasing rodents, for example, but then giving them a positive spin and giving them a positive outlet. So how I kind of got involved with this was I think a lot of people do this. They don't even know that they're doing it. So when we first got Bindi, we crate trained her. And when we did that, we used stuffed Kongs. I think that's the classic, right? Everyone kind of leans towards, knows what a Kong looks like. It's classic dog owner thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, right. And so I had started doing that, but I wanted to kind of mix it up because she got one all the time. But I was like, I don't want to just put peanut butter in this.
Right. It just feels so
And
repetitive.
yeah. So eventually I just kind of began looking into different ingredients I could use. And then it began to be well, what other toys can I use? And then it just became this giant gaping rabbit hole that I just fell into. And it was awesome because canine enrichment really isn't a new thing. It's been around for so long, and the studies on it are absolutely incredible and have been such an interesting thing for me personally. And I've loved sharing what it's about, how you can do it at home, DIY, what cool products there are now, because now, especially on the market, like it is exploding online.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to fulfill our dogs in so many different ways. And there's so many kinds. It's just like there's this like little tip of the iceberg, and it just, there's so much great things to do with it, right?
Yeah, I've really noticed that recently. Like everyone is talking about enrichment, which is so beautiful because, you know, we bring dogs into our family and we're like, oh, it's our family member. We can sort of forget that they have these innate dog needs that oftentimes we don't know about or really make an effort to fulfill. And when we do, it can alleviate so much anxiety, stress, boredom, like destructive behaviors. It's just such a positive outlet for them. And it's really fun, like the level that you're involved in your dog's life and like just creating happiness for them. That's got to feel really, really wonderful for you and your dogs as well. What an amazing tool for bonding and just really making sure that everyone's living their best life possible.
Well, it's super cool because I think once you start, it's hard to stop. Because just like the littlest things you do, I've referenced dogs as like captive companions. I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's a great umbrella term for our pets because we as owners are like the complete source of everything for our pets, right? Our pets don't really get a lot of choice, really, right? Like we choose their food, we choose where their walks are for the majority of the part, we choose where they live or who they see often. So enrichment offers this sense of choice and sense of fun that kind of alleviates boredom, stress, all that kind of stuff. And there's some really interesting studies. One was done on dogs who were given enrichment versus dogs who weren't. In 2003, it was a Hubert study. And in the study, they found that dogs with enrichment in their routines chewed furniture 80% less than dogs who didn't have enrichment. So it's that idea that giving these outlets to dogs not only provides them some fun, but cuts through that boredom and kind of alleviates some of the really quote unquote problem behaviors that are just natural to them.
Yeah. And sometimes you see those behaviors and they're just like, oh, this is a bad dog. Like this dog has bad behaviors, and it's not. They're just not getting natural behaviors met and fulfilled, like their needs met and fulfilled. And sometimes it's as easy as just giving them an outlet that's really positive, which I think you've been amazing at doing.
Well, I think you have been awesome with this, and seeing it with Otter firsthand. Some people who don't really know what it is are probably like, what on earth is she doing with these pans and this and that? And like ways you can do these tiny little things in your day-to-day life, not even with puppies, it could be with any age of dog, really, right?
Yeah.
But it makes such a difference in the long run. And it's also super interesting to watch the cogs in your dog's brain work. Like, I think that's one of the most fun parts for me, is watching them figure stuff out, especially having two dogs. My two dogs could not be more different with figuring stuff out. So it's super interesting to see like how they go about it as well.
And it doesn't have to cost anything either. I think that's a really important factor as well. Like I think cost is a factor for so many people. Also, people who live in like apartments and don't have access to a lot of like naturally enriching outdoor environments. This is a really wonderful alternative. But Bunny, for example, shredding tissue paper. It's like her all-time favorite thing. So, you know, on her birthday and I don't know, once a month on any other day, we'll just like wrap her toys in tissue paper and she can just spend 45 minutes shredding it. She doesn't eat it. If your dog is an eater of those things, you'd obviously want to like monitor them quite carefully. But it's so enriching. And then she just like passes out. She like just passes out in the shredded paper. She's exhausted. She's so happy. Doesn't even need to play with the toys. You can use like toilet paper rolls and fold them up. You can use towels and fold the kibble into them. So it doesn't have to cost anything. There are so many ways that you can provide enrichment for your animals without sort of going, you know, crazy with it or having to spend a ton of money.
It's so true, because like I said earlier, like the branding of enrichment has kind of exploded over the last 2 years. And it can get expensive, right? Like depending on what you're looking for, but a lot of enrichment activities have like homemade dupes, I like to call them. So you can
Yeah.
swap so many things out with so many things that you have just at your fingertips at home, and your dog is not going to know the difference. Your dog is going to enjoy it just the same. And it makes enrichment accessible, which is super, super important to me, because certain situations, like we can't all spend this crazy amount on enrichment, or maybe like you said, we live in an apartment or what have you, where we're limited with space. But there is something for everyone, I promise you. There's, no matter where you live or what you have, there's always going to be an option there for you.
Yeah, 100%. So I like put some of my enrichment toys out on a table to
Yeah.
show our community. And I think you may have done the same as well, right?
Oh my gosh, I have so many things set up behind me in case anyone wants to see something specific, or you're looking for any like niche little things, just let me know.
Okay, so I'm gonna flip my camera and
Okay.
I will do a tour. How do I even do that? Oh,
I think.
yes, there it
Oh,
is.
okay.
Yeah, I've done lives before and I still don't know. For everyone asking about Bunny and Otter, here's Bunny. She's laying by her buttons. She is passed out. And Otter's taking a little nap too. He's just right over here.
Oh my God.
Oh, not quite a nap. He's taking a rest. Hi, buddy.
So
Hi, buddy. So, one thing this is like my little enrichment table right now. One thing I'm really excited about is that Otter is very, very food motivated. Bunny isn't food motivated at all. So, a lot of these enrichment toys I haven't been able to use to the fullest extent, right? Like,
yeah.
Like this one, it's the Star Mark. It's a wobbler. It's got a good weight on it, and you fill it in the top, and then they sort of wobble out the bottom. But it's not good for the type of treats that Bunny will take, so we couldn't really use that for her. It'll be great for Otter. And then we've got some slow feeders here, which if people don't know, you can just put their daily meals in them, and it will slow down their eating a little bit. Or you can put a combination of things in it and freeze them for hot days. Or to slow their eating down even more. We've got a lick mat right here. Got a little, another little lick mat, which has got like a suction on the back. So if your dog is really nervous of being in the bath or shower, you can just like put some wet dog food on this, or peanut butter or cream cheese or yogurt or whatever, slap it to the wall, let them lick while you desensitize them to a shower slowly. I love these. This has been Bunny's favorite. This is a Snoop. It's her absolute favorite because you can fit bigger things in there, and it's really malleable. So she can sort of like chew through and maneuver things out of it and really work for it.
Those are awesome too for anyone in an apartment because they're quiet.
Oh yeah, they don't like make noise when they bonk into things. Oh, this one's still got some kibble in it. So yeah, they come in a couple different sizes too. I've been putting freeze-dried beef lung in this for Bunny, which she really enjoys. This thing, which you can just stick, pretty much whatever you want. I actually for Bunny have been filling it with like tiny squishy squeaky things because she really likes to pull the squeakies out of this, and is like I said, less motivated by food. We've got this Kong. I don't know what it's called, but you can stick bully sticks in that so that they can't choke on it, or you can put other little pieces of kibble in that. Just the standard Kongs in a couple of different sizes. Then this thing, I don't know. Topple, is that what it's called? Okay. West Paw. And this is what Otter's been eating his meals out of. I'm mixing some of his kibble with a little bit of wet dog food. Just smush it in there, and then it takes him like half an hour to get it out, and then he's zonked afterwards.
Those ones are so great, and I really like recommending those to anyone who has a breed who has like a flatter face, because some people have a dog with a flat face and they don't do as well with Kongs sometimes. So that's always what I recommend instead. They work fantastic. They come in a small and a large. I can show you the difference in sizing as well. Like I have them behind me too.
Yeah, I'm sure you have all of these and then a million more. And then just traditional snuffle mat and some puzzles. But I'm really excited to see some of yours. So why don't we take a little tour of some of your favorites?
Your collection is great. I have you on like a holder here. Let me see. Okay. So I have like a bunch of stuff here. So these are all feeder toys of some sort. If anyone is looking to know about feeder toys, always drop a DM because I have been through the ringer testing a majillion of these. So up here, I have, these are kind of like interactive feeders. Our most used are definitely the Kong Wobblers. They are a little bit clunky. I know apartment goers kind of say, like, the people underneath us probably think we're bowling. So that's why, right? And then that's why I would say the Snoop that Alexis was talking about, it would be great for people if you have people that live below you. It pops out like this. Let me just, so it pops out like this, and then you can fill it, and then you just pop it back in.
And if they're first learning it, you can keep it unpopped so it's a little bit easier for them, and until they sort of develop their skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
And then a cool little hack for this one, if you ever have a dog that's mastered it, you can actually fit a tennis ball in there, and they can pop it out and then go for the treats. They also sell, they sell a Snoop add-in as well. I can't remember what it's called. It's a little smiley face that they actually made that you can buy that goes for it for this reason. But I find a tennis ball, like a small tennis ball, works fine. This is just a small, but works really, really good. Another cool one is, we got this one recently. It's a spin it. So you unscrew the top, and this kind of moves around as well. We have the Bobble-Lot that Alexis was talking about as well. That one's a little different because you can open or close the treat slot for bigger or smaller treats.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, the Kong Wobbler for us is more used. It's also easier to clean because it screws the top off fully.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. Then we have some lick mats, which Alexis already touched base on.
Awesome. Are those suction-y or just flat backs?
These ones are just flat backs.
Nice.
But I do love the suction option, like you said, for if anyone's dog is nervous about taking a bath or even nail clipping. These work so well for that. Then we have like some snuffle stuff. So like my dogs love snuffle activities. So I have a million. These are just snuffle mats.
Those are great. Those look so durable.
These ones are like an anti-bite one. They're super cool. They're a Canadian maker named Paws and Dogs. They have a little suction cups at the bottom. We have a snuffle snake, all Westpaw, fun stuff. Just so, like, just any kind of feeder toy that you can imagine, all different ones. Alexis was talking about this one. Super great one. You can also fit the large and small together, which is super cool.
Move away from the bunny borking.
Oh, don't worry. That's my life too. But yeah, so there's a ton there, but there's also, like Alexis was saying earlier too, you can also DIY a ton of stuff. Like I always say, toilet paper tubes. Yeah, egg cartons are great. They have the little crevices in them. They're perfect. Boxes, tissue paper, old towels, like what have you. And I always keep our old kiddie pools. They're fantastic, especially now that summer's kind of coming to an end here. I always bring one inside, and you can put like paper products, cut up pool noodles, balls, like what have you. My dogs go nuts. They're great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That was like a little look.
What are you primarily, and I should have mentioned this at the beginning, everyone, but we're just going to chat for a little bit, and then we'll take some questions towards the end, because I've been seeing some great ones come through, but I really wanted to just chat with you for a little bit first. So keep your amazing questions for a little bit later, and we'll try and get to as many as we can towards the end. So like the Kong Wobbler and some of those other treat dispensing toys, the holes are pretty small. So are you mostly using kibble or like Zooks size treats for those?
So
or
that's
either
a great
your dog's
question.
picky?
Yeah, that's such a great question, because size matters with treats and their dispensers, because you don't want something too big and it won't come out easily, and that can make your dog frustrated, right? So it does matter what treats you're choosing for your toys. I recently stumbled upon these little tiny, they're called Wet Noses Little Stars. I had to remember there. They are so tiny, but they work so great for enrichment because they fit in everything, and they're really, really small. So it's not like you feel like you're overfeeding your dog, because that's not what we want to be doing with enrichment, and that's commonly happens. but they're great. Oh my gosh, Bunny.
She's
So
settled.
cute. She's like, you can overfeed me, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, she's so picky that it's like really, really hard. It would be like next to impossible
Yeah.
to overfeed her. Like it's been really challenging with enrichment and just with food in general for her. Finding something that she'll take consistently, because even if I find something that she loves, she only loves it for a few days, and then she's like, nah, this is boring now, and then we got to find something else. So I just found some beef liver that I think she'll really like, but they're like these huge chunks, so I'd have to spend a ton of time chopping them, which would turn them into like powder almost.
Yeah.
So yeah, trying to find the right thing. She won't eat peanut butter. She's like that kind of dog.
And so what have you found like has worked best for you with Bunny? Like, because I'm sure that's going to be a huge question, because that's one I always get is my dog isn't food motivated. Like, I don't know where to start. Like, did you find something that worked best? I know you mentioned shredding for Bunny particularly.
Yeah, shredding works great for Bunny. The freeze-dried beef lung in the Snoop, she loves it. And she's a little bit of a contra freeloader, which we talk a little bit about. For people who don't know, basically that means, well, there are studies that have been done that show that some animals prefer to work for their food. So if Bunny is presented with a very, very high quality kibble in a bowl, absolutely will not take it, never has, never will. If, however, I put it in, for example, I just smacked myself in the face with a plant. If, for example, I put it in this and then mix in a little bit of freeze-dried chicken or some freeze-dried raw, like open farm pellets or something, she'll eat it because she enjoys working for her food. She prefers that. So a lot of it is context-based for me. She loves shredding. She loves working for food. What else? What else?
She likes to talk.
Yeah, that's got to be enriching on some level, right? But you know, in terms of traditional enrichment, I think shredding is probably her favorite. Anytime I come home with like a grocery bag, it's hers. Like an Amazon box, it's hers. Tissue paper, special occasion, it's hers. The puzzle feeders she seems to do the best with, honestly.
Yeah, that's great that you found that though. I know it can be kind of hard for people and also frustrating too. Like there's some people that just want to find something that their dog loves and you put all this effort into certain things and your dog might be like, no, but that's okay. And it's also common, right? Dogs are such individuals that like what works for one might not work for the other. As long as you keep trying and you'll find that little niche that your dog loves in terms of enrichment, and then you can just really run with it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's a lot of like experimentation, right? I mean, I purchased so many enrichment toys for Bunny. I was just like, oh, well, this isn't a hit. And, you know, tried it in as many different ways as I could think to. And she's just like, you're insane. Like, I don't know what you're doing, you weirdo. So, okay, try a different one. And now, thankfully, we have several on hand that we can use for Otter, because I think that's going to be a big deal for him because he's so food motivated, which is really exciting. So what have you found that your individual dogs prefer in terms of enrichment?
So both my dogs are definitely food motivated. Rosie is like, oh my gosh, you would think she hadn't eaten in her whole lifespan anytime anything comes out. So I don't have the same problem as you. Unfortunately, mine will just eat anything. But my dogs love snuffle activities. It's one of those things that I find genuinely lots of dogs love a good snuffle, whether it be like a decompression walk in a new area, a snuffle mat, a snuffle box, anything like that, any kind of foraging activity. There was a really cool study done on like dopamine and anticipation. So it talks about kind of how certain animals, the anticipation of finding food is more exciting and more basically of a reward to them than the actual reward. So seeking out that kind of stuff is super cool, right? Because they are like so excited to find something that kind of trumps actually finding something, which most of us wouldn't think, right? We think we want the reward, we want the prize, but it's the actual seeking it out. So my dogs love that kind of thing. They also love, like Bindi loves the flirt pole. She is so chase motivated, and she's so fast though. Like I'm not fast enough to keep up with her sometimes with the pole. So, but she loves that kind of thing. There isn't much that they haven't really liked. They've been pretty good that way with, they're pretty good with pretty much everything, which is kind of shocking. Whereas I know I have friends and stuff that have a harder time.
That's incredible. I really am super excited to ask you about your enrichment garden that you dedicated so much time to. I posted a link to my stories earlier. I don't know if anybody on the live right now was able to check that out, but it's really cool. She like turned this little area outside of her house into like a zone that fulfills all of the sensory needs of her dog. So can you tell us a little bit about that process and like what is in there and what it looks like?
I'll have to come back on one day when it's completely done and it's not pouring rain. But basically when we moved, we knew we wanted to have a fenced yard for the dogs, but our yard is not large. Like I think there's this thing in the dog world, like you have to have this large fenced yard, and that's really not the case for so many people. And like you don't need to have a yard to have a dog. Right. There's so many other ways to fulfill your dog. But when we moved, I was like, I want the backyard that we have to be as beneficial for us and as it would be for our dogs. Like I want it to be like a shared space that they can just enjoy, just like we would want to enjoy, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. The finished product is like,
thank you
so gorgeous.
Much.
It's like a botanical garden.
Thank you so much. There's still so much to be done. We're hoping for it to kind of be like next year. We have like some things bigger things we need to kind of get together. But I knew I wanted to do like scents for sure. Obviously, we all know that dogs, their nose is like a huge factor in how they see the world around them. Sounds, which often get left out of enrichment, I think because people don't see the benefit. Like with our own eyes, you don't go, oh yeah, they're going, yeah, this is great, right? Whereas you can see dogs get excited about other things. So we put in some like little fountains and stuff, as well as like plants that rustle in the breeze, little things like that.
That's so cool.
Right? So we kind of try to touch on every sense. So they have their own like place to lay, they have their own place to dig, they have their own place to run, different sound sites, everything like that. It's been super fun, and it's been super fun to see them enjoy it. And also seeing what other people have created. Like people have sent me stuff since we began that, and it puts mine to shame. Like mine looks like the Wish version of what people are sending me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do some work over here. But it's been super fun, and it's been just as enjoyable for us to sit out there now, just knowing that they enjoy that.
Yeah. There is a comment right now asking if they could see the backyard garden right now, but you said it's raining and stormy.
Yeah, and we're doing some work to the back, so I don't want to share it just yet. But if you head to our page, I do have tons of pictures of all the things we've done in process. I even have a sensory yard highlight.
That's bindysbucketlist.com.
On our website, bindysbucketlist.com. In our blog, if you search sensory yard, there's some stuff on there. Or if you head to our Instagram, we also have like a full sensory yard highlight as well.
Oh, awesome.
And an Instagram TV as well, like the sights and sounds of the sensory yard. But we're hoping to put in a whole new garden, which is kind of like what is happening now, which is why it's kind of a bit of a mess back there. We're trying to pull out some stuff and add some new a sensory pathway, we like to call it, in the back. But you guys have a great setup where you're like right on the water. Like that's like a sensory heaven.
Yeah, they're here we can do a little. People keep asking about Bunny. She's still right there. People keep asking about Otter. He's still right here. And yeah, our sensory garden was created pretty naturally. We do have this little pool,
awesome.
which Otter loves. Bunny hates water, which is kind of a pity since we live on the water.
Where you live, it's fantastic.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of sensorially enriching
stuff
going on here. Lots of
Exactly.
sounds, lots of smells. There was a jellyfish on the beach today. Other
Yeah.
dogs poop, you
Yeah.
know.
All the good
Um,
stuff.
yeah, and there's like different textures of beach. Like this is so there's like there's train tracks up there, and so this is sort of train track gravel, and then it gets sort of smaller, like river rocky as you go down that direction,
Yeah.
and turns into a sandy beach. So there's lots of different types of beach, and then we've got a huge park just up the hill as well. So we also don't have a fenced in yard um, by any stretch of the imagination, but we work
But
with what we have, which is,
but look
you
at your
know,
space. Oh my gosh, it's
yeah,
incredible. Like,
yeah, we're
and
lucky.
yeah, like that whole space is like sensory heaven. Like everything down to the gravel that crunches underneath your feet.
Yeah,
Anything like that, like it sounds so small, but the littlest things make such a difference in a space. And dog senses are so acute to so many things.
yeah,
So tiny little changes, you don't need any changes. Look at what you've got going on. That's amazing.
yeah. We feel pretty lucky. We feel
Yeah.
really lucky. Um, but something that I was thinking about today. What exactly was it? It was like, oh, it was novelty, enrichment, and novelty.
Yes. Mhm.
Because we go to the same beaches, same park every day, and Bunny right now, because we've got Otter. They are each going on a solo walk with me or Johnny, and then they're going on a together walk.
Mhm.
So they each get 2 walks a day. That's 3 walks for us, and I'm trying to expose Otter to as many novel things as possible right now, obviously, because he's a tiny dude.
Yeah.
And in that process, I was like, why am I not doing that with Bunny too? I should still be exposing her to novel experiences all the time as well, right? So I took her to a park that we never go to. And it wasn't so much as a park as like a field. There were like a bunch of kids
Mhm.
playing
Mhm.
like ultimate frisbee, and then in another part of it, there were like a bunch of kids playing soccer. And we just walked the track, and
Mhm.
we encountered some kids walking and some other dogs walking, and she was so tired.
Yeah.
Our ordinary like hour-long walk on the beach or in the woods, she comes back and she's like, okay, now let's play a little bit. This one, she was like, no, I'm done. I saw 3
This is
novel
it.
dogs. I smelled novel grass. There was one goose poop. I'm done. Um,
Yeah.
so I think like the including novelty in environments and sensory input is really, really valuable to them.
Absolutely. And I like to call it like the 3 tiers of enrichment. So the first one we already talked about, which is great, which is like finding individual preference. So for example, how you said Bunny likes ripping and shredding, right?
Yeah.
That's her individual preference. And then the second is novelty, variety and novelty, because I've explained it in a couple podcasts I've been on. It's like when you're a kid and you have think about the first time you had a food that you really, really liked as a kid, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. But then if you have it every day for the next 2 months, it's not special anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I get this all the time. So I like to compare it to like advent calendars. You get those on holidays and they're special, or like even a piñata. You're like, I don't get that all the time. That's super special and fun. So switching things up, and whether it be a walk or like a toy, even treats, different kinds. There's so many ways you can switch it up. It
Yeah.
helps keep the enrichment new and exciting,
Yeah.
and that's key in keeping your dog engaged as well,
Yeah.
right? And then
Rotating. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
no, you're totally right. Like rotating it is so
Yeah,
important.
rotating out the toys.
Mhm.
Like for the first year of Bunny's life, or maybe a little bit less, she just had, like
Mhm.
17,000 toys that were just like everywhere. Like, there are your toys. Play with them, whatever. And she was like, I'm bored of
Mhm.
every single one of these because I see them every single day. So
Yeah.
we started, okay, here are 10 toys you can choose from.
Mhm.
And then the next week, okay, we'll take those toys away. Here are new 10 toys. And she's like, oh my God, these new toys, these are incredible. I was like, ha 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 ha. We
Yeah, it's like
fooled
you
you.
do the evil laugh,
Yeah,
right? It's so
exactly.
true. And it's so funny that you said that, because when I was like bringing everything out for tonight, the dogs were like, what is going on? Right? They're like going around, because I keep my enrichment toys usually away so that like when I bring them out, they're special. But we do the same thing. We keep like a basket of certain toys, we'll swap them out, what have you. But they were like, what is going on? This is the best night ever. Like, why is
Is it
everything
birthday?
out? Right?
Birthday?
Oh my gosh, what's happening?
Yeah.
But it's totally true. And it's just like nice to have that change, right? Just like think
Yeah.
about even in COVID right now, people haven't gone out. That first time people started to go out again, once we were able to, think about how exciting that was and how exhausted you were after. You
Oh my
probably
God.
went home and were like, I can't do social gatherings anymore.
I slept for a week. I was
Yeah.
like, one social gathering, I was like, ugh,
It's like,
how?
go back to bed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
totally, right?
that's such a great point. Like, I was spending quite a bit of time today thinking about that. And that it's important not just for uh, puppies to be socialized and exposed to novelty, but throughout their entire lives. In the same way that you don't want to be stuck in a rut doing the same thing all day, every day, your dogs also don't want to be stuck in a rut, and you control their ruts, so to speak.
Yeah.
So switching it up and giving them opportunities to explore novel environments, taste novel things, smell novel things, see and hear novel things is so, so cool and so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it also like provides that sense of choice in a sense as well. When we give them different things, they can choose how they're going to proceed. They're going to choose how they're going to play with something or how they're going to enjoy something. For example, like on a decompression walk, choosing their route, choosing what they want to smell, choosing what pace they want to go at. Little things like that I think we take for granted with our dogs, right?
Yeah.
We think, oh my gosh, we spoil our dogs. They're part of the family. We're going to do all this stuff for them. And then it's like the littlest, tiniest things that we don't realize as owners that, oh my gosh, we have control of everything. Like we have to make sure we add some fun and novelty into there.
I know it's a lot. It feels like a lot of pressure when you think about it.
Yeah.
But smallest like addition of enrichment can make such a huge and long lasting impact on their mental health, which in turn impacts your mental health, right? Like it's stressful having an anxious dog.
Oh
If
yeah.
my dog is happy, I am happy.
Yeah.
It's like a really symbiotic relationship too. If you're working to make sure that your dog is in a calm state of mind through enrichment, you're also going to be in a better frame of mind consistently.
Absolutely. More happy dogs, more happy owners. Works
Yes.
hand in hand, right? And it's so true. And a lot of the enrichment activities I find are relaxing for myself to even watch, like the snuffle activities and stuff. Like, I don't know, it's like a weird ASMR thing. You're just sitting there, like having your coffee, and you can just listen to your dog have their breakfast or listen to them do whatever, right? You're just, and everyone's calm and you know that they're happy. So it's just that peace of mind, like exactly like what you said.
Yeah, I'm the same way, like watching Bunny shred paper. Literally an hour's gone by and I'm like, oh my God, what happened to the time? I've literally been spending the entire last hour watching Bunny tear apart paper into tiny bits. And it's like completely engaging, right?
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
so
joy.
much fun.
It's
Yeah.
joy, right? It's awesome because you just know that they're like in the zone too. And another great thing for ripping and shredding, because Bindi and Rosie love to rip and shred as well. I get a lot of questions on, well, my dog eats stuff. I always offer like, do edible shredables. Say you have extra lettuce at home that like you don't want to use, save it for your dog. Though like iceberg lettuce works phenomenal if you want to use like even like the nub of a carrot, kale leaves, like that will all work.
Oh my gosh, that is so smart. I never would have thought of that. Bunny won't eat any vegetables at all. But I'm going through your page. I'm like, okay, Otter's going to have so much fun with all of this stuff. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, you'll be able to do some fun stuff there.
Yeah. So are you feeding all of their meals out of enrichment toys?
Not always. So our girls are on raw, so it does make it a little bit more difficult. And that's another question I get as well, because you can't just toss raw. You're not going to toss raw food right into your snuffle mat. You're not going to do it in certain toys. Oh, like it just makes me gag just thinking about it. But there are different ways you can do enrichment with raw fed dogs as well. So like that topple you talked about, that's a huge, huge one that people that feed like raw or wet diets, they work so well for that because they keep things so contained. Lick mats. I have some wobble bowls as well. They're great.
Wait. You're saying this one for raw?
Oh no, it's like a bowl. It's like a it's like a lick mat, but it's a bowl.
This.
I should text Joe. It's upstairs.
Okay.
Because of course I had it frozen for the girls.
No worries, no worries, no worries. I was like,
But
how you put raw in that? That doesn't make any
I
sense.
know. Yeah, that would be like, but those little grouped ones would be totally great for raw. Like people use
Yeah.
those all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
But I personally will have like a dehydrated raw or even like a high quality kibble that I'll merge into their diet for enrichment, because obviously I love to do enrichment as much as we can. And there are ways you can still do it on raw. I know some people think like it's not possible. I can only feed this, like do the one thing, but there's tons of ways that you can modify accordingly to get it into your routines.
And I think I've seen you do, what do you call it? A barcouterie?
Oh, yeah.
Like
I
that's,
posted one today.
yeah, that, I mean, that was so pretty. I got hungry watching you make a barcouterie for your dog. But that seems pretty enriching too, like all the different smells and flavors and textures all spread out on a board, and it's kind of snuffly. You could totally do that with raw, like, you know, different kinds of raw foods plus, you know, raw veggies, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. And you can do that in a muffin tin. A muffin tin's a great way,
Oh
frozen
yeah,
or
yeah.
not frozen, right? And also muffin tins are great for doing like a preference assessment. So if, just like you would do for kids, like if you don't know what your dog finds like the highest value, you can just lay a bunch of different treats in the little muffin tin holes. And you've got to do it a few times though, because they can be kind of rogue every now and again. Right? Like one day they might just decide they like one better than the other and just skew your results. But for better results, if you do this a few times and then you can see what they go for first all the time.
Yeah, that's so smart. That is so smart. I've been meaning to do some taste tests. Well, I've been meaning to do like one of those taste test videos for Bunny. And then I just keep thinking it like wouldn't be any interesting. It wouldn't be interesting at all. It wouldn't be any fun at all because she would just, I would like put like 10 foods down and she would just walk away. But now I can do that for Otter. I think it's fun learning his preferences.
You'll have the two extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bunny who is like too good for anything I give her, and Otter who would literally eat hair.
Which is funny because like people think that non-food motivated dogs don't exist, but it is so common. It is so common.
Yeah, I've heard it's like in border collies particularly it's fairly common, and I've heard that a lot of poodles and poodle mixes are fairly particular. It makes it hard for training sense, honestly, especially because Bunny's got some reactivity issues, like trying to work through some of that outside in the real world when she won't take food at all because she's not food motivated at all is tricky.
Absolutely, it makes it a lot harder for sure.
But it's good. We're working on it.
Well, that's all we can do. That's all anyone can do, right? We just work on it. We just do the best we can.
Oh, there's a train coming by. Sorry, it's so noisy.
Oh, don't worry. I can't really hear it. You're that.
Okay.
So you have so much going on. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know. When we got Bunny, I was like, we're gonna have to like take her to the train tracks to sound desensitization, and Otter just moved in with us here at our new place, and the train's right there. I was like, bam. Good to go.
Perfect.
Done.
Yeah. Yes. That's awesome.
Is there anything that you want to address specifically, or are you ready to take some questions?
No, if there's any questions, we can totally answer them, unless there's anything else you want to touch on. I'm such a note writer. Of course, I have put notes here.
You're amazing.
I'm one of those people. I can't help myself.
I love it.
Oh, we could talk about some detriments with enrichment, because that's something that we don't talk about often.
Yeah, please.
So everyone, obviously, when we talk about enrichment, goes, this is amazing. It's only good. Like, there's only good things. And I would agree that enrichment is largely like 90% positive. But there are some like circumstances where I like to make people aware of them more. Like a big one, which we kind of like talked about a little bit there, was overfeeding. Especially because food enrichment is one of the like #1 forms of enrichment, because so many dogs are food motivated. So it's always important to just be mindful of what you're feeding to your dogs for enrichment. I always say, like, try and use meals as much as possible, because it's 2 birds, 1 stone. You don't have to worry about calorie counting. You don't have to worry about majorly overfeeding your dogs. It's a great way to do meals. Another one is laser pointers. I always bring this one up because A lot of people, I don't know, it's like you either know about this one or you don't. It's like very hit or miss, but laser pointers are such a detriment to dogs, and not a lot of people know about it because it's such a small little harmless looking thing that you can get at the pet store even, but it can lead to laser pointer syndrome, people are calling it. I have an article about it on my blog and also on Instagram as well. So I would just ditch the laser. If you want to switch it up for anything, do a flirt pole. Flirt poles are awesome. If you don't know what one is, it's basically like, think about a cat toy with the little dangly on the end. Everyone knows that feather pole. It's one of those for dogs.
Perfect. Right. I'm glad you touched on that because I've seen articles about that recently. And you know, I'm sort of embarrassed I don't know this, but like we always have laser pointers for our cats.
Oh yeah.
Is that different? Like it doesn't create the same syndrome in cats? Because I know that it does in dogs, but I didn't know that until like 6 months in with Bunny. I hadn't used one with her, but I think one of my friends was like, "Oh, get her a laser pointer. It's like the most fun." And so I just like Googled it, wanting to be sure, and they were like, "Absolutely don't do that." And I was like, "Oh." But it's fine for cats, right?
Yeah, well, I don't really know with like that one, the literature out there on that is like hit or miss. People say like with cats, use one, but then end with it landing on a toy so that your cat can catch the toy, just so that there's a sense of like catching. So the reason like laser pointer syndrome is so prevalent in dogs, I think, is because there's no sense of relief. Like there's no like sound, there's no touch, there's no smell. So your dog is going to just be looking for this little pointed light, and there's never going to be any sense of relief. So it just leads to a bunch of behavioral issues. The stories on them are like incredible, and you just feel for these families because who would know, right? Who would think that would be a thing? But yeah, so laser pointers is always one I touch base on as well. But the other one I was going to talk about too, which is prevalent to both of us, is enrichment in multi-dog households, right? So sometimes I think people get a new dog and then just you're so excited you want to do everything together all at once, which you've done an amazing job. Like your socialization, how you're doing everything. I'm like, everyone needs to see this because it's how it should be done, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And with a new dog in the space, you never know what's going to be high value to one dog versus another when they're new together. And especially enrichment is usually something super exciting. And even dogs who have known each other for so long, if they get something super, super new and exciting, they could resource guard whatever it is. So in our house, we have some gates. Like our dogs have never fought or anything like that. But I like to give them enrichment separate for the most part, just because then they can enjoy their activity. They don't have another dog breathing down their neck because that's Rosie all the time. Every time, poor Bindi, really? Never get anything done.
What you doing?
I know. She just like waits there, like the side, like, are you done yet? Because I want to check what you have, like now.
Really cute. And also probably annoying too.
Yeah. So some things I let them do together, some things I let them do apart. But it's just good to be mindful of, right? That not every dog is going to enjoy enrichment in the same sense. So just to be mindful of it in that sense.
That's such a great point. And that's something that that's something that I do too. I try and keep them separated when they've got any sort of chewies or bones or anything. I'm keeping them separated a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really important. You just want to prevent any of those behaviors from happening in the first place.
Yeah.
So super smart. What else? Anything else you wanted to add specifically? Or should we go on to questions?
Yeah, let's answer some questions. Let's go for it.
Okay, perfect. I will check the question mark box here. What was that green toy that had the adjustable holes?
Oh, let me grab it. 1 second.
Okay, perfect.
So this one.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the Star Mark Bobblot. And this is the little hole. And it can shut or open as much as you want. The only issue I see with this toy, my dogs love it. It does swing quite a lot. And it goes in like this. And you can actually close the top as well. The only thing is it's harder to clean.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't screw it open. I'm used to the wobbler, which is like what we always use, like I said, which you just unscrew it and you can wipe it out. Whereas this, like, to get in there, depending on what you use, it's a bit harder,
It's
but
really
I
hard.
would say the swing is good.
Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Bunny, oh, here's another thing about Bunny. She will occasionally eat a food if she witnesses Otter eating a food that she would not otherwise eat. Like his puppy kibble. She was like, "No, I love this." And I was like, "No, you don't." And she's like, "No, I do. Trust me." So I put it in the wobbler. She's like, See, I love it. So that's a thing. That's a thing as well.
I just heard that in the TikTok voice. Is it too much? I love it. I love it.
I think it might be a little much. The Hank Green or John. Yeah, Hank Green. Okay. Can you share the name of the Snuffle Mat company? They look awesome.
Yeah.
I think we have 2 different brands.
Yeah. I love yours.
Yeah, it's really nice and it's pretty durable. I don't think there's a brand. I got mine on Amazon. I just Googled Snuffle Mat. Let's see. Oh, it's Paw 5. Paw 5 is mine. And I love yours, Taylor.
They're super cool. We actually got them out of an Enrichment subscription box, which is called Pet Subscription Boxes. They have a Clever Canine box. They're Canadian. They're going to try and expand into the US, but this is the mat that they sent, and it's from Paws and Dogs. So PAWZNDOGZ. So it's 2 Z's, and or if you're American, it's a Z.
Yeah.
But
I love that it has the little suctions on the corner too, so they can't just like throw it in the air.
Yeah, and you can take them off, like, so you can wash it and everything. Bindi at the end always likes to pick it up and like toss it upside down. So this helps quite a lot to make sure it's like sucked down to the floor.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right, let's see. Enrichment ideas for very tough chewers. He destroys Nyla bones in 2 days. That's a great question.
Oh my gosh, 2 days. You poor soul. I'm choking. One of the best, I would say, brands that I've found for tough chewers is Go Nuts.
Go Nuts.
Go Nuts are awesome. They have like really good chews, and they're guaranteed to the pink, which is like if your dog chewed to the middle, which is pink. I believe they warranty them all for you.
Oh wow.
The only Go Nuts thing I have are these. These are like they're heavy. They're like heavy duty. But so it looks like this.
Oh my gosh.
It's like I know, it's a weird looking one, but it's like this one
looks like a buoy.
Pardon?
Looks like a buoy.
I know, and it's called a cannoli, and this was like one of their stuffable ones, but they have like rings, they have like anything you can think of, and tons of different kinds.
Okay, and is that GONUTS, like Go Nuts?
No, it's GOUGHNUTS. It's the funky spelling.
Oh, GOUGH. Like,
yeah.
Okay. GOU. Here, I'm gonna type that in the comment section so people can go there. GOUGH. Oops. GOU. Go Nuts. NUTS.
Yeah.
Okay. Go Nuts. Gotcha. Okay. Sweet. All right. Back to the questions. I've seen this question a couple of times. Any tips for storing and organizing all the different, often bulky enrichment and feeder toys? I bet you are a pro at this. I bet you have so much going on in that category.
So there's great ways you can do it. Like at our previous house, because we just moved to this house. It's almost been a year now. I still haven't found like the right spot that I like to keep mine yet, but I'm hoping to get a cabinet for them. I do have an old video of how I stored them previously. I actually had Joe like hang special shelves and also some little hangers. I actually secured all my licky mats via, like I put 2 nails and an elastic. So it just elastic all of them in a stack to the wall.
Oh, wow.
Just like space savers. We lived in an apartment. So it was like just trying to save all the space you can, right? But I find that anything I use really regularly, we have like a dog cupboard upstairs. I keep those up there in a basket. Whereas everything else I have like in a couple of boxes that I just store down here that I'll just rotate out. Just because then there's ones that you don't really use as often. You'll know what your favorites are, and then just kind of keep them where they're accessible.
Totally. I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you like do like once a week you prepare like several days worth of enrichment toys for both your dogs? So they're just like ready in the freezer or whatever?
Yeah, well, I like to batch, like that way you don't even have to worry about it. And I've been less good about that as we work from home, because I'm home. If I'm on lunch, if I whip something together, like what have you, I'll do that. But I am going back to work in September, so I'll have to get back into the swing of all that. But it makes it so much easier, and then you're not worried, or if you need one, like you're not like, oh my gosh, I don't have this. I wish I had this.
Like I forgot company was coming over. Whatever. Yeah.
Right. So it's nice to kind of have those, especially like here it's been so hot lately.
Yeah.
So like frozen toys and goodies have like kept us alive over here, because we can't really go for the big walks we're used to, right? Because it's way too hot.
Yeah.
So I like to batch. Batching is great. Saves you time, energy, and peace of mind.
Awesome. I love that. And you have a ton of different recipes and ideas for that on your website, right?
Yeah, on our website and on our Instagram is where I like post all that. Especially because it's hard, right? Everyone goes to peanut butter naturally. Bindi wasn't always the biggest peanut butter fan. And that's the reason why I wanted to look into, okay, what's dog safe? What can I make? And how can I make it efficiently? Especially having 2 dogs. It's a lot of prepping, right? You're like double the toys if you want to do a week's worth.
Yeah.
But it's easy to just do a couple at a time and then just do them as the week goes on, or just do them on a Sunday for that week.
For sure. That's so cool. I'm excited to get into that routine and hopefully find some things, like if Otter's eating it, Bunny will eat it. So maybe here, Otter, taste this. Bunny, you want it? So
just do the stare. Like
exactly. So any ideas for senior dogs that have trouble using their teeth and jaws for chewing and gripping?
Absolutely. So senior dogs have my heart. Senior dogs like can benefit from enrichment just as much as a puppy or just like any dog, right? But I think a lot of people get stuck because obviously senior dogs can have other health issues that can stop them from doing certain things. Lick mats are great because they don't move around sporadically. They're going to be in one spot. So that's like my go-to for any kind of senior dog. You could also do things like a snuffle feeding in the grass, right? Just even in your own backyard, just do a little snuffle feed in there. Like snuffle mats are great, but it depends on what kind of food you're feeding, right? That you're not going to do wet food in that. Or you could technically do it in a rolled towel and then toss your towel in the wash, what have you.
Yeah.
But I would say lick mat for sure would be the one I would start with.
Okay. That's a brilliant idea. And then what are your personal favorite enrichment activities that don't involve food? There's a question here.
Yeah, so Rosie loves bubbles. Bubbles. Nuts for them. And it shocked me because that's the one that Bindi didn't care for, which I was shocked about because she's such a chase. Like she loves the chase.
Yeah.
So bubbles are a good one. Flirt pole, which I already talked about. Also, we like at least once a week, we go to our local park and do a decompression walk on long lines.
Yeah.
And the dogs love it there because there's a community garden. And it's usually pretty quiet when we go. So they have the whole park to themselves. And you can just see it's like a sigh. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's
totally.
Yeah. It's also just like a great space for all of us to just go kind of relax and walk around, and they get to do their thing. So that's another good one too.
I love that. Do you use the bubbles that are made specifically for dogs, like the bacon and peanut butter flavored bubbles?
So I have not been able to find those. So I tried to get them at the start of COVID, and a thing of bubbles was either like they were gone, or they were like $90 for these bacon flavored bubbles. I'm like, are these made of gold?
I'm sending you some bacon flavored bubbles. After this live, I'm getting your address. I'm sending you bacon and peanut butter
Do you
flavored
just
bubbles.
have a surplus? Are you the one buying all the bacon flavored bubbles?
I am the owner of all of the bacon bubbles. Yes, many people did not know this about me. No, I've actually never tried them, but I've had them in my like Amazon cart for like
Yeah.
2 years now. So yeah, I'll just send you some.
Oh my
And you
gosh,
can
if you
do
were
a
to
review.
hilarious.
That'd
Oh
be
my
awesome.
gosh, Rosie would just be in bubble heaven. That's like one of her
Yay!
favorites. Another good little non-food one, especially we do in the winters here because it can be so bad, is dog TV. And it's hit or
Oh,
miss. Your
yeah.
dog will either like care nothing about it or love it, but our dogs love dog TV. If you go on YouTube and just search dog TV, there's all different episodes. There's like virtual walks or like just nature scenes. You can see the birds come in and stuff. And my dogs, they're like in a trance. They're like a kid with an iPad, I swear.
That's so cool.
So that's a good one on like a really rainy day and you're just like, I want to put something on because I feel bad because we can't go anywhere.
I love it. Bunny has never been interested in screens.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have a TV, so we just are normally watching on like a small screen,
Yeah.
whatever we're watching anyways. But we went over to my parents' house, Otter and I did, for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom is like obsessed with tennis, so we were watching tennis,
Yeah.
and Otter was like, like this is amazing! Look at all those balls! It was so funny.
It's so funny. It's hit or miss, literally. Like some dogs love it, some dogs could care less.
Yeah, it's really interesting what they focus on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. How many times a day do you do enrichment?
So this is actually a question I get a lot because people are going, oh my gosh, am I not doing enough or am I doing too much? It's really, really dog dependent. I find that especially in the winter, I tend to do more because we're not doing as much outside. Yeah. So usually like I would say if you can do your meals in enrichment and then that's really good for most dogs, and then add something a little different if you can, even especially if you're working from home, something at lunch is awesome. I usually, like when the pandemic started, I got into the habit of like doing a nice like snuffle activity in the morning because I found they would do that. They'd be like going at that all morning, and then I could get my morning meetings done because they were like this, they were fulfilled for the morning.
Yeah.
And then I usually like to do something at night. Like I said, we do like a decompression walk or a regular walk. And then usually at night, I'll give them something like a chew or a frozen Kong, something like that.
That's awesome. Your dogs must be so freaking happy.
I think so are yours. Like, I think everyone here, if we're trying to learn about enrichment, I think everyone has very lucky dogs.
True. Like anyone who's in this live just obviously wants for their pup.
Yeah.
Okay. There's some really great questions here. Does a snuffle mat serve the same purpose as feeding on grass or a similar texture depth situation?
Yeah, so it's just essentially like a foraging activity, I like to call it. So it's exactly that. So in the summer, I like to do it on the grass, especially like some days I'll let Joe, I'm like, please don't cut the grass yet. Like it's the perfect night. Because he's like on Sunday, he's like waiting to cut the grass. And I'm like, just wait, stop. So then you just sprinkle whatever you have outside. Dogs usually love it, especially if it's a nice day. It's great. Yeah. Obviously in a safe space, you don't want to be like sprinkling treats in a space you don't really know. You just never know.
Right.
But a snuffle mat is essentially that. So a great option for people that don't have a yard.
Yep, 100%. I love that. Or it's too hot to go out, or it's too cold to go out.
Winter, like what have you.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here.
It's so cool to see where everyone's coming in from. I'm just looking at these. It's so cool.
Oh, you can see the comments too?
I can see some of the comments. Yeah, I just realized.
Awesome. I didn't realize that you'd be able to. That's cool. Because I think maybe that's a new feature. I wonder if you can see all the comments or only comments from like your followers on.
I don't know. I'm trying to, now I'm like scrolling through. Wow, there's quite a lot.
There's so many. And I'm looking through, if you can see the question mark at the bottom right, I'm looking through those questions.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Guys, this is my first live, so bear with me.
I know, you're killing it. You're doing so great.
No, this is awesome.
How to keep a dog engaged that isn't food motivated. This could be a question for either one of us. I think, and please give your input as well. I think finding what they're motivated by. Bunny can be motivated by food, the right food in the right context. She can also be motivated by play in the right context, but she's not like across the board motivated by the same thing in the same way. She's very context dependent on what she's motivated by. Like when we're outside in the world, it'll take her a long time before she'll take treats, if she'll take treats. It'll take her a while before she'll play, and she won't work for play, but she'll respond pretty quickly to affection. So when we're out in the real world, I think that's the most rewarding and sort of comforting thing for her, because she's got a little bit of anxiety. So I think a lot of it is really context dependent, and really getting to know your dog as an individual and see when they are motivated by what and how. And that just takes a little bit of time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like what Alexis was saying, like find what your dog loves and run with it. If say your dog won't go for treats, if your dog is ball motivated, there are so many ways you can tailor that into enrichment games. Take a paper bag, fill it with balls, let your dog rip open the paper bag, and then they have all the balls. Do a little ball pit. That's what we did for Bindi's birthday a couple years ago. I just got a old kiddie pool, got some balls from Walmart. We just filled it with the balls. My house was covered in a million.
So fun.
Billion. It was like as much fun for me as I think it was for them. But then I just sprinkled, like my dogs are food motivated, so I sprinkled some treats inside, and then it was like snuffle heaven plus ball heaven.
That sounds
so
amazing.
you could just run with what your dogs love. Like, but sometimes finding that can be hard, but I totally agree with everything you're saying. Like, it is such a process, but it will be worth it in the end. And then just get creative.
Yeah. Try everything.
Yep.
Maybe they're only motivated by squirrels.
Yeah. You never know. Then you're going to have to put a squirrel feeder outside your window.
A little stuffed squirrel. Squirrel.
Yeah. Just put it right on the end of a floor pole.
Yes. Oh, that's actually genius. I mean, seriously, that could work really well. Okay, how to help dogs who get a little frustrated with a puzzle or toy or a specific type of enrichment. Like if I give my dog treats in a box to shred and forage, she gets frightened of the box when it slips.
This is a good question because I think so many people have nervous dogs. I know Bindi is a nervous dog. She's always been nervous of certain things, and her enrichment I always give on a rug or mat. Rosie, I can give it on whatever surface. She does not care. She's like a little warthog. She will just romp in there. Bindi, no, you can just see her little anxiety go up. So for nervous dogs, I always recommend doing like a carpeted or matted space, just so then nothing's going to move erratically that like it would on a hardwood or tile. As well, just offering help when needed. I think some people get nervous to offer help because they think their dog's going to ask for it all the time. But just showing your dog how things work is not a bad thing. It's actually a great thing because it can stop the frustration and make them more confident in their choice. Also, just to know that you can help them. It's nice for the bond between you and your dog because they know you're there and they know you can help.
Yeah.
So just even the sound of the box, if it's scary, you can just get on the level with your dog, sit on the floor with your dog and say if they're having some positive play, they're interacting well with the box and they're going to start tearing it open. Even just toss a couple of treats to say, yeah, that's what you're doing is good. What you're doing is going to have a payoff.
Yeah, I love that so much. Oh, this will be saved for people who are asking. I'll be sharing it to IGTV. Hopefully I'll be able to download it too. I had problems downloading my last live, but then I can share it with Taylor and also put it on YouTube. But it'll definitely go straight to IGTV on my account right after this.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. That's awesome. Then people can watch it later that couldn't stay or had something going on.
Exactly. This has been such an amazing chat. I just adore you. And everything.
Right back.
I just want to like
you on the phone. I was like, yeah, we have to do this.
Oh, thank you.
This is great.
Oh, hide and seek. This person says, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned hide and seek. I hide kibble and small treats and let my dog get them. That's such a great point. I love hide
Oh
and seek
yeah.
so much. And I just posted a video of Otter and I playing hide and seek. It's great fun. And I think
Yeah.
that's enrichment that involves like a lot of movement as well. And
Mhm.
it really emphasizes your connection, because I think it teaches your dog how, like, keep your eye on me, which is great because you always want them to know where you are in space. And it's a great bonding exercise, as well as they get treats, they get to run around, you're both having a good time, you get exercise as well.
That is
So
a great one too, because it also gives your dog confidence to go on without you, right?
yeah,
Like I think especially now, I know I've mentioned a million times with like COVID, like things have changed so much, right? And your dog is so used to being like by your side, you're home, you're doing all this. So even like hiding things around the house and teaching them that it's okay, you can go there without me is something, it's such a small thing, but it can be so beneficial for so many dogs that just need like that little bit of it's okay, like it's gonna be fine.
funny story. This was a while ago. Bunny's, been developing more confidence, which is
Yeah.
wonderful. And for a long time, and we got her before the pandemic started, but the majority of her life has been in pandemic time. So I
Yeah.
pandemic puppy, right?
Mhm.
Um, and she would just follow me everywhere, right? Like I leave the room, she's with me. Anywhere I go, she's with me. Even if Johnny's like stays, she just follows me everywhere. And that's just sort of been her routine. I'm like, this is cute, but it's like
Yeah.
probably very healthy. And then, we work on our confidence, And then Johnny and I were like having dinner. This is so silly. We're like having dinner the other night, and she like left and went upstairs. And I was like, oh, great. She's like doing her thing. And then I got separation anxiety, and I was like, I gotta go check on her. Johnny's like, what? And make sure she was like okay up there. And of course she was fine. She was just like sleeping, like, what, Mom? I'm just like being chill and independent. Really
Like she's
sweet.
going off to university. You're like, oh my God.
I was like,
I totally,
hey, upstairs.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And it's funny because mine's opposite because Bindi is like Velcro dog and Rosie's like Miss Confidence. So the other day, opposite because Rosie came downstairs, we're watching TV upstairs, and then all of a sudden she just leaves. And Joe and I are like, what the heck? I'm like, where did she go? Like, and then I came down because same thing. I was like, are you all right? And she's just laying on the couch. She's just like, I needed my alone time. Okay. Like, it's time for me to go.
And it was like, yeah, my feeling was like, I'm gonna panic without, like, I'm having separation anxiety from her.
Yeah.
Like, be the adult in this situation. Chill the
All right.
yeah.
All right.
All right, let's see if there are a few more questions to answer here. How do you help dogs that eat too fast? I've tried a slow feeder, but it hasn't seemed to help. He still rapidly tries to get all the food.
I would say, like, I know, like, there are the slow feeder bowls that are great, but I find that, like, a moving one helps more if you have dry food. Like the Kong Wobbler
The little
and
hole.
yeah, I find it's a bit better because it's moving, so your dog has to follow it as opposed to like staying in one spot. I also have this little hack with the wobbler because my two have mastered it because obviously food obsessed. I put wine corks inside, so it makes it a little bit more difficult, but like the wine corks can't come out. So that way it takes them a little bit longer. They have to kind of be motivated a little bit longer to do that. But you had the slow feeder bowls, right? How did you find that they were?
Well, I mean, they don't make a difference to Bunny at all because
Yeah.
she's like, I can take food or leave it, so she doesn't eat
Yeah.
fast anyways. I think they would probably help Otter slow down, but he really enjoys like this is
Yeah.
great for him right now. It takes him like half an hour, like a
Yeah.
mix of wet food and dry food, and it's perfect. And I
Yeah.
think that just it's a little bit more enriching because you have to be more like interactive with it.
Yeah.
It's moving around, so you've got to come at it from different angles. Sometimes it'll fall over and you have to like pick it back up. So I just think there's a little more like brain activation that's going on and something
Yeah.
like slow feeder. But I think slow feeders are great too.
Yeah.
Especially, because they're not gonna like if you put some stuff in there and with the intention of like freezing it, it's not gonna like leak out the side or the holes. So those are great for like freezing a meal, which is gonna slow them down more. So that might be an option for you to try commenter as well as freezing it.
Yep.
Bone broth is great. Like if you're feeding kibble, you can just put bone broth over it, and bone broth is very nutritious. It's great for joints. It'll soften the kibble. It'll freeze really well.
Yeah.
So something to
So
try.
true. So
Sweet.
true. Works so good. So
Yeah.
nice to do that. And then you just have it all ready, and then it's like, it's just nice because then you can feed it and you know that they're not going to scarf it down in 4 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to have to lick that for a long time, buddy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good for both of us.
Yeah.
Long
I'm going to have my coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a great question because I feel like maybe not a lot of people know necessarily. What is a decompression walk?
Yeah, so this is a great one. And I see you do it all the time with Bunny, which is amazing. It's basically an unstructured walk where your dog leads the way. So some people do it in off-leash safe areas. If you don't have an off-leash safe area, I know for me personally, I use long leads because we're limited as to where we can go off leash. So I use long leads. Mine are 25 feet on it, and I have both girls in the harness. But it essentially, they can just take at their leisure where they want to sniff, where they want to go. It's honestly a lot of nothing. I know it sounds weird, but people are like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be running rampant, but like usually they're just sniffing. They're just taking in the world around them. Sniffing is like a mental treadmill, so it's so cool to see. And they're usually so exhausted at the end of this. I'm sure you can attest that with Buddy. Like it is just like they're KO'd after that. Obviously for very many reasons, I only ever recommend doing this in a safe place you can do so. You don't want to be doing decompression walks in the city with a 25-foot lead on a busy street in the middle of Toronto. Like that's going to be an absolute nightmare. You want to keep your dog safe and you want to keep everyone around you safe. So that's something I only recommend in like a safe space for you that you are aware of. But it's awesome.
I love that. And I feel like there have been times in my life where, I've been like dog sitting somebody and I felt I had to, I had like half an hour and I had to get from point A to point B. And not only is that stressful for me, but I can only imagine how stressful it is for them, right? Because we're like fighting their natural desire to want to sniff and explore because they don't have that opportunity inside necessarily. And they're trying to get their needs met. We're trying to get our needs met. Neither of us are like interested in exploring these together. So these decompression walks are really decompressing for me too when I take them because I'm zone out. I know that Bunny is relaxed, that she's being fulfilled, that she's having some enrichment, that she's getting to explore the world. So it's good for both of us. I think enrichment walks can really lower the level of anxiety in an entire household.
I totally agree. And I find it's a great like reward after even like a structured walk where you're obviously training your dog to walk by your side, or like I think obviously that's a great skill that we have to have for safety of our dogs and everything like that. But then just making sure you have that time for your dog that's for them entirely, right? So sometimes I'll do like a structured walk and at the end they know that we're going to have a decompression walks because I bring my long leads with me, and then when they get to the park, they're like, we know where we are. We're so excited.
I love it. That's amazing.
So it's super fun. I highly recommend people that can try it because you'll watch your dogs do a big sigh of relief that we talked about earlier.
Yep, it's amazing. And then they're just conked afterwards. So tired, they'll just sleep. Well, this has been so incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
No, thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome.
Yeah, I would love to do this again. I'm sure we'll probably get questions after the fact as well, but I don't want to take up any more of your time.
No worries.
And is there anything else you wanted to add or anything that you think we missed or any last thoughts?
Honestly, I think we did pretty good. I think we covered a lot. We did. Enrichment is a huge beast. And I think the fact that everyone wants to learn about it now is amazing. Everyone's trying to take steps, just these little tiny steps that we talked about to make our dogs' lives better, to make happier pets and happier owners, because it can be with any pet really, right? So not just dogs. And I just thank you so much for having me on. Hopefully next time when we chat, we can go out to my yard. It's pitch black right now.
That would be amazing. I would love to see that.
I would love to do that. We could totally do that. We'll set that up one day.
Okay. That's
and
perfect.
let's do it, right? But thank you so much. This has been so awesome. And I hope
Yeah,
everyone learned something new.
I certainly did. This was
Me too.
incredible. Lettuce, shredding lettuce. I'm so excited for that.
Next, there's going to be no lettuce at the grocery stores tomorrow. They're
No,
going to be gone.
no lettuce and no bacon flavored bubble.
Yeah, gone. That's it.
Gone, done. All right. Well, again, this has just been so wonderful. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you really soon.
I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.